Welcome back, everybody. This is Eric here with Iraq Veteran 8888. Today, I've got another firearms fact for you, and this is a question. I actually get this freaking question all the time, and people ask me, "Hey, Eric, what is the best cheap gun to buy? Like, if I don't want to spend a lot of money on a firearm, what would you recommend as something very entry level, dare I say cheap, so that I can get into a gun without spending a lot of money?" And I get that question so much, and I can't believe that I've never actually made a video about this. So I'm going to take a moment to answer this question for y'all. And I think you'll be surprised at some of my choices, and some of them may be familiar, some of them may not, but I think you'll be surprised at what I pick. Before we get started, I would like to thank our friends at Sonoran Desert Institute for supporting today's video. If you are looking for a career in the gunsmithing world, they are definitely your go-to source of distance learning education. They got some awesome curriculum, wonderful instructors, great programs. You can learn how to fly drones. You can learn how to run a gun business. You can learn about working on firearms, all sorts of things that they teach you skill-wise to set you on the right path for having a career in the gun world. Check them out, Sonoran Desert Institute, SDI, and tell them that Eric sent you over. Okay, so there are a lot of guns out there that don't cost a lot of money, even brand new. Now, it didn't always necessarily used to be like that. I think that a lot of people, when they think of a cheap pistol, they probably think of like a High Point, or I'm sure some of you have seen like the Jennings and Bricos and Lorsons and all the kind of little cheap 380 brands that were out there for quite a long time. When they think of a cheap gun, maybe they think of some of the Taurus offerings, which can be had for a very fair price. That's definitely a cheaper brand. Maybe some of the Bursas out there are priced relatively affordable. Okay, those are made in Argentina. You have some made in Brazil. So there are some brands of guns that are kind of known for being a good entry-level gun for not a lot of money. I have to say that over the years, I have bought and sold and owned a lot of random guns. And I will tell you that when it comes to something for the house, I always, always, always go back to like a law enforcement trade-in Mossberg 590 or a Remington 870 or something like that. So this pump shotgun here, this is an older field model that's a police trade-in. It's got the police butt number. But a lot of these guns can be had for very, very affordable amount of money. You're talking probably $200 to $250, and you can get a good pump action 12 gauge shotgun that will serve you quite well. A lot of these are going to have a lot of wear on the outside from being carried a lot, but generally mechanically are going to be in pretty solid shape in and out. This is a fantastic shotgun, and I paid less than $250 for it. So again, if I wanted a gun for the house, and let's say it was only for the house and I was never going to carry it or anything like that in public, and I just wanted a gun for the house, I would say a police trade-in pump action shotgun is going to be really hard to beat. Okay, very hard to beat. Now, let's say I'm looking for a handgun. I want something I can put on the nightstand and have it in the house in case there's a bump in the night. Or when I go out in public, I want to carry concealed and have a gun on my person and or in my vehicle when I'm out and about. All right, well, maybe a shotgun may not be the most practical thing to carry around. I mean, maybe people would look at you weird. I suppose you could. But let's just say you're going to want some sort of a handgun. Well, I have really been liking the Stoeger STR series. Now, look, before you call me out here, yes, I know this one has a suppressor and a red dot and all that on it, but Stoeger makes this STR Combat series in a variety of different sized guns. Okay, you can get a compact size. You can get the tiny version of this gun for like well south of $300. And I will say these guns actually hold up exceptionally well. So this is a pistol that I think a lot of people overlook are the Stoegers. They are very well made pistols. They hold up really well. And I tell you, for a gun that is well below $300, I mean, you can find these things on sale for like less than $250. Okay, and sometimes with a rebate, you can get them even cheaper than that. So, for what these guns sell for, they are a fantastic value. Are the Stoeger STR 9s? That's definitely something worth looking at. Are the Stoegers? And again, you can get the little small subcompact version that they make if you want to carry a gun. again, before I would go spending, $189 on a high point, I think I would spend a little bit more money and get the Stoger. You're getting a lot better gun now. Another entry level pistol are the Smith & Wesson SW9 VEs, also known as the Sigmas. Those guns have gone through a few changes over the years. The slides that those guns are made out of are the same stainless steel that they machine out to make the M&P slides. So the quality of those guns is quite good. Yes, the price is very affordable. They're, I think, $329 or sometimes $299. The only thing about that gun I will say that I don't like about compared to the Stoger, for one, the Stoger is cheaper, and two, the Stoger has a much better trigger for the money than the SW9VE. So the Sigma is a great little gun, but they do have kind of a known heavy trigger. So if a heavy trigger is something that might turn you off a little bit, then the Stoger is going to be probably a better gun for you if you're looking for something with the lighter trigger. The Bursas and Tauruses that are coming out now, they also have some pretty light triggers, which are pretty impressive for a gun in their price range. Again, I don't have a problem with Taurus handguns. I hear the quality has gotten better over some of the earlier Tauruses, that they have had some changes, both in, let's just say, management and in QC. But I will say out the gate that the Stoger is still, a much better gun for the money. If you're going to spend under $300 for a brand new pistol, I would either buy the Stoger STR9, or I would look at something like the Palmetto State Armory Dagger, which is a Glock copy. It's a fantastic gun. They're not going to have all the bells and whistles, but for a little more money, you can get a lot of bells and whistles on the Dagger series from Palmetto State Armory. So that might be another option to look at. Now, rifle, again, while we're talking about Palmetto State Armory, all right, what is a great entry-level rifle to get into? Well, sometimes Palmetto State Armory sells their little, 12.5-inch commando-style carry handle AR for like $499 with free shipping or something like that. So if you're going to get an AR and you just want a basic AR, I would get something with iron sights with a short barrel and a pistol brace on it. Keep it short, keep it compact, put a sling on it, maybe put a flashlight on it or something like that, and just run iron sights and keep it simple and learn how to shoot well with that. And then maybe upgrade to a flat top later and put you an optic and play around with different triggers and things later. If you're only going to have one AR, I think a carry handle AR is a really handy thing to have laying around. You don't ever have to worry about the iron sights going dead, the batteries going dead. You don't have to spend extra money on an optic. You don't have to buy a whole bunch of crap and accessories. Just buy a sling and some magazines and get good with it, and you'd be surprised how many pickles you can get yourself out of with even a basic rig like that. So really, you could almost have all three guns for nearly south of $1,000 if you play your cards right and buy everything on sale and get it when the getting's good in terms of the good prices. I mean, right now, the gun industry is kind of down right now, so there are a heck of a lot of deals out there. So if you are looking for your first gun, now is a pretty good time to get into the firearms world because ammo is at a pretty much at a pretty good all-time low right now. Ammo is down, components are down, training is down, production on guns is down. So, right now, a lot of companies have a ton of inventory and they're willing to blow it out at a little bit cheaper price than normal. So don't be afraid to check out some of those great deals out there and get yourself into your first firearm. But I wanted to answer the question of what would I consider a great entry-level cheap gun? If I'm going to buy a cheap gun, something that's not a lot of money, something that is a low point of entry, a low burden of entry, police trade-in shotguns are great. Get you a good 12 gauge. The Stogers are great. Palmetto is great to look at for something entry level. Also, don't be afraid to browse the used rack at your local pawn shop. Your local gun shop probably has a used rack. Don't be afraid to buy a used gun. You can save a lot of money buying used over new. I did a whole video discussing things to look for in a used gun to make sure you're not getting hosed or anything like that. So check that video out. If you just look up used guns on my channel, you'll find a bunch of videos on how to go through and purchase used guns the smart way and to make sure you're getting something that's not been, not cared for well or something like that. Making sure that the condition is on point for what you're paying. So anyway, check that video out if you want. I have many more videos on the way. I appreciate the question. And this has been today's Firearms Fact. I hope you all have a wonderful day. Thanks so much for tuning in. Many more videos on the way. We'll see you soon.